Now, if we look at the current structure we have here, that is between the month of September and the present moment, we it's easy to observe that price has been caught within a consolidation phase right within the $93.50 level, as you can see on your screen right now, and the $78-$76 area in the last couple of months to emphasize the indecision in this market right now. And well, in addition to the current structure we have here is the very important key level we have identified at around the $85 level. And if you remember vividly how we have been laying much emphasis on the structure, as it has been a major determinant of price action. In fact, if we look at what has been happening here since the month of August, we saw at one point in time this level was holding buying pressure. And then if we fast forward into the month of September, we saw the final breakdown of that level. And throughout the month of September, price has continued to trade below that level to emphasize the strength of the sellers at this point. However, during the early days of the month of October, we saw the significant breakout of that structure, which was a reflection of the OPEC Plus decision to cut oil production, as we saw here. Then price came back to do a retest of structure with the hopes that price might likely continue to the upside, but unfortunately for the buyers, all buying attempts was negated by the sellers again at around the $93.50 level, and this time the move from the sellers here pushed price to finally do a breakdown of the $85 level to emphasize the strength of the sellers at this point. However, if we look at what has been happening here in the last 2 weeks now, we can see that throughout the month of throughout the week, last week, we saw how price was caught within this channel around this area, which is around the demand zone. You can see this level has been holding buying pressure since the month of September. So we saw the situation here where price was caught within another consolidation phase around that area. And if you remember vividly how we were looking forward to trading the USOIL last week, we said we are going to be looking forward to a possible scenario where price might evolve back to the upside to retest the structure that was broken 2 weeks ago before another wave of bearish momentum will happen. And then the other scenario we stated here yesterday appears to be what is happening right now. As we can see, price was caught within a consolidation phase here, and I was saying that if a breakdown of that channel happens, we want to be seeing that as a bearish signal where a retest of structure should be giving us further confirmation to join the decline to the downside. And if we look at the structure here on the daily time frame and looking at the demand zone we have identified here right between the $78 level and the $76 area, we can see what happened at the beginning of this week. We saw price appear to have broken down that demand zone, and this might likely be a bearish signal that we shall be looking forward to this week. So now, to have a better perspective into what is really happening around this level, so we need to scale down to a much lower time frame. Let's see how participants in this market is relating to this current structure here to determine if we are going to be buying or selling USOIL for this week. So let's scale down to the 1 hour time frame, and if we scale down to the 1 hour time frame, what do we have here? So this is the 1 hour time frame right now, and hold on a second, let me do some adjustment here. So if we look at the 1 hour time frame here, the first thing we observe here is that price action has been on a long-term bearish momentum. At least in the last 2 to 3 weeks now, we have been witnessing the selling pressure, and as a result of this, I was able to identify a bearish trend line here after connecting the series of lower highs. As you can see, we have lower highs here, and as a result of this, we had that bearish trend line figured out at this point. And if you look closely into the structure, sellers have consistently respected this trend line uniformly well. And during the course of last week's trading session, we had a structure around this area after connecting the series of higher lows here to give us that bullish trend line. And on Friday, we saw the breakdown of this bullish trend line to give us a signal that sellers are still very strong in this market. So now when we fast forward to the beginning of this week, this is what we have here at the beginning of the week. Now we saw this huge gap. We had this bearish gap here at the beginning of the week. As you can see here, we had this huge gap here, and price started at around the $76 level, which led to an engulfing candle that took price right into the $74 level. And since price tested the $74 level during the early hours of today, we have been witnessing a consolidation phase around this area as price has continued to consolidate, oscillate right within the $74.50 area and the $74 level to emphasize the indecision that is in this market right now. Now, with the current structure we have here, following this impulsive move to the downside that started last week, we saw this consolidation phase here. And when we have a flat channel like this, after a bearish impulsive move, we want to be seeing this as a trend continuation pattern in the form of a bearish rectangle. Now, and if we have this kind of scenario from a technical standpoint, theoretically, we are expecting that price is likely going to be breaking the support level at the $74 level to incite another wave of bearish momentum. So this is one of the scenarios we shall be looking forward to going into the New York session today. So we might likely see a breakdown of the $74 level, and if that happens, we want to be looking at an opportunity to sell the US oil at that juncture. Then the other possible scenario here is that price might likely break out of that structure. It's not every time price follows this technical structure here, so we want to keep our options open so that we don't lose out on the opportunity when it finally happens. So the other scenario, the opposite scenario, is that if price breaks out of the $74.50 level and we witness a retest of structure giving us further confirmation, and if we scale down to a lower time frame and we start seeing buying pressure right above this level, then we want to be taking advantage of that bullish momentum to the upside. And one thing we should note here is that if a breakout of the $74.50 level happens here and we are joining the rally to the upside, we should take note that this is going to be a counter trade opportunity that we have here. So we want to be very mindful as price moves in our favor. We want to be moving our stop loss accordingly to lock in the profit so that we don't get caught up in any sudden pullback that is very likely to happen from this juncture in this market, since we have been on a long-term bearish momentum here. So if we are going to be buying right above the $74.50 level after citing buying pressure around this area on our lower time frame, where will our take profit target be? Well, at the meantime, I will be suggesting that we should be using the bearish trend line that has been holding selling pressure in the last 3 weeks as a parameter to guide our take profit target. And what do I mean by that? If you look at the bearish trend line here, you can see it also shares a confluence with the $78 level, a level which was broken during the later part of last week's trading session. And from a technical standpoint, whenever we have a breakdown of a structure like this, we expect that one point in time, price is likely going to come back to do a retest of structure, which might incite another wave of a bearish momentum. So for the sake of this session here, if a buy opportunity happens right above the $74.50 level, we want to be using the $78 area, between the $78 and the $80 area as our yardstick for take profit target, which should be giving us around 480 to 530 pips thereabout on this one. So let's see how price action plays out in the next couple of hours. So we already have a channel. So to make our job easier, I've already identified a channel for us here. So we look out for buying opportunity at a breakout retest of the $74.50 level to take advantage of a counter trend opportunity. And if price breaks down the $74 level, we want to be looking out for selling opportunities as price continues to move to the downside from that level. So these are the possible scenarios that I will be looking forward to during the New York session today. So let's see how price action plays out and we shall be coming back here tomorrow to do a review of what has been happening in this market. So if you have any question regarding what I've just explained so far, you need further clarifications, feel free to drop in your inquiries in the comment section, and let's see how I can be of help in that regard. So I will be taking the next 10 to 15 seconds to read through the chat and see if there are any questions. And if there are none, then we'll move on to the next pair. So what do we have here in the comment section? Okay, we have I'm not sure I can pronounce that word. Okay, hello, good morning to you. 8712, good morning. You're welcome. All right. So we have 8634. All right, good morning to you. Glad to have you around. You're welcome. 451, good morning. 406, good morning. Oh, you're welcome. Good morning. Glad to have you around. Well, this is the XTrend Speed live app. So what we simply do here is gather here on a daily basis in preparation against the New York session to analyze the market. So what we do here is analyze the market, then figure out trading opportunities that we could take advantage of during the New York session, and we come here on a daily basis to review what our expectations are and plan again for the next session. So that's what we do here. So I would advise that you stay tuned in so that we don't miss out on any of the ideas that we'll be sharing herein. So okay, all right. So in that regard, then the absence of no questions, I will be moving on to the next pair.